Now, footage has emerged of the first fatal attack by Houthi rebels on a ship off the coast of Yemen. 3 crew members were killed and at least 4 others were injured. Let's bring in our military analyst, Sean Bell. Sean, what do we know about this attack?
Yeah, good afternoon, Jane. Yeah, 11:30 yesterday, the bulk carrier True Confidence was attacked about 50 miles off the coast in the Gulf of Aden. This Greek-owned Barbadian-flagged vessel was struck by Houthi missiles. The US and the Indian Navy are on scene to try and provide some support. And in fact, the Indian Navy have actually provided this footage showing some of the rescue of the survivors. The latest report says that 3 of the sailors sadly perished. There were 4 injured, 3 pretty seriously injured. But we understand the bulk of the 21 crew members actually were recovered safely by helicopter. You see one of the casualties here. Now, this was the first fatalities from the Houthi attacks. The ship has now been abandoned. As you see, a lot of the crew were out in life rafts on the sea. The Houthis claim that they were responsible, but they also claim that this ship was actually a US-owned vessel. In fact, it was nothing to do with the US or Israel at all. It was just a ship going about its normal business. It's now drifting in the ocean. Apparently, it's still on fire as the owners try and work out how to recover it.
The fact that this is the first fatal attack, do you think this will change anything in the West's response? It's
difficult to tell at this stage because the first phase of the US and UK response was trying to deter the Houthis from doing these attacks. That didn't work. So the last few strikes have been trying to degrade the Houthis' capability, target the missiles, the launchers, the storage facilities, the radars, and that's why we see the US jets getting airborne off the carrier group here. The next stage up will be to destroy, and that would mean actually going to war with the Houthis. And I don't see any appetite for doing that. What is likely is they're likely to shift the focus from hardware onto people, command and control, and potentially the Houthi leadership. What is particularly interesting, though, about this is a few months back, when the Houthis first did these attacks, they were throwing a lot of anti-ship cruise and ballistic missiles and drones against shipping, largely ineffectively. Since then, they've used up a lot of their missiles, and the Americans and the UK have been targeting them. Yet, over the last few weeks, they've become increasingly effective at striking vessels. Things like the Ruby March, we're seeing that they sunk effectively, and the MSC Sky 2, and now this third attack, which involved fatalities. And I think what's interesting here, military capability isn't just about missiles, it's about training, it's about all of the rest of it. You'd have to assume now that the Houthis are getting help from somebody, and that will be the manufacturers and the supply of the missiles. That points to Iran.
While we have you here, what's your take on the budget yesterday in terms of what there was or wasn't for the military?
Yeah, I guess there was no great surprise. There was nothing of the military. What is surprising is that the world is at war. We've got wars raging across in Gaza and in Ukraine, and, of course, the Houthi attacks on shipping here. The Defence Secretary, Grant Shapps, recently said it's the most dangerous time he's known in the world, and an ambition for increasing defence spending to 2.5% of GDP. But what's interesting about budgets, it's when, you know, the harsh reality of it, actions speak louder than words. And what's pretty clear is the government's prioritised spending on tax cuts and childcare over and above defence spending. As we speak today, the Russians are on the front foot, pushing further into Ukraine. That'll create some very worrying times for the Ministry of Defence in London.
OK, Sean, thanks a lot.